Hi, Elaine Enlightening here with video blog number 56. So today I come out to make my video and the lights in my studio, one of the lights isn't working. Turns out it's just an extension cord. So today's video I'm going to focus on the theme of I am a sinner, and I'll explain that here as we go along. It's interesting that yesterday's video blog was on God is the light in which I see. And then today, I don't have a good balance of light to make my video blog. And the additional story behind that is that when I decided to use the webcam to make my video blog to simplify loading times, then I struggled with finding good light, and I needed natural light, and then that limited me. So I got the idea one day after I went back to making them on my camera. I got the idea one day, we'll just go out into the studio where you have studio lights and take the webcam out there. So then that simplified things. And yesterday was the first day I did that, and it worked well. Now it may not be perfect balance. I mean, I've got great lights. I'm not really a lighting specialist, so I don't know that I have them set up perfectly for my situation, but nonetheless, it's not as balanced as it was yesterday, or could be. And then I felt really tired when I discovered that. I just really wanted to go lay down, and I knew, okay, with all this resistance, this was a great metaphor to talk about how when the resistance shows up, it's time to just take another step forward and not let anything hold us back. Obviously, I could have run out and gotten an extension cord cheaply and quickly, but I was like, no, I'm just going to make the video. By the time I get back, I'd even have more things to take care of and do that could stand in the way and potentially delay things further. So today's lesson, though, is that God is the mind with which I think, which is lesson 45 in the Course in Miracles. And so this fits beautifully with I am a sinner, and this particular terminology is significant to me because with the programming that I had, with the idea that I'm a sinner comes along the idea that I am deserving of punishment. And the whole concept of a punitive, I'm getting a total mind block now, corporal punishment type belief system, right? And that is all tied in with the whole sacrifice, the whole belief in death and sacrifice. And this is the ego's way of thinking. And so to think that I can think with God's mind seems arrogant from the ego's viewpoint, because the ego would want me to think I need to look to it. Now the ego is my own miscreation, and it's all made up of limiting beliefs. Simply, that's all it is. And the things that happen in my life are just reflections of whatever's going on there. So that's why I can see that the metaphor and the light not working today after doing the lesson on God is the light in which I see. And it just is great stuff. I mean, I thought it was pretty exciting, so it's added more to my video blog than I thought was going to be in it. And so the idea is that I love this thought in this lesson. It says, we will not let the beliefs of the world tell us that what God would have us do is impossible. Instead, we will try to recognize that only what God would have us do is possible. So my ego was saying, it's impossible to think with the mind of God, because then I'm elevating myself too much, which is interesting, because the ego would elevate us to something that we're not. But to believe that I have the ability to think with God would say that I am His creation, which I believe that I am. And all of this stuff that the ego wants to come up with to distract are just illusions. They don't mean anything unless I put meaning on them that's not there. If I utilize it as a way to teach me how to go back to God, then there's a purpose in it. Otherwise, it's just distractions that take me out. So I'm grateful for this lesson, and when I get my light going, I will go back to my forgiveness series and I'll add a product. One of the videos is going to be on I'm a Sinner, which is just a little different take than some of the other videos I've done in that series because of the language is significant. And even if you haven't had that thought or wasn't conditioned with those thoughts, you could also substitute what would work for you. The term evil, whatever it might be, human. There's a passage in the New Testament that says, man cannot comprehend what God comprehends. And I'm paraphrasing somewhat. And this is true from the ego's perspective because man, the human side of us, cannot comprehend when we're in perception. That's exactly true. So without understanding the ego versus God thinking or love and truth, without understanding that, you can be misguided to believe that you could never think the way God thinks. And then that would make him something separate than me. And then that would mean that I could never, ever think like my Creator. And that, if you will think about that a little bit and ponder it, you'll see how possible that is. So I encourage you to take this lesson into your day and do the same thing, which is take the thought and repeat it. God is the mind in which I think. And then allow your mind to think of other truth that matches that, and then spend some time in just total quiet. Just allow your mind to calm down and be completely quiet. And even for just a few minutes, it's amazing how it will help transform. So the belief that I'm abundant is the opposite of scarcity, and the scarcity beliefs come from the ego, which would want me to be limited. So that is my lesson for today. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.